This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. They've done it, they connected me to my avatar. My Navi body looks a little rough and splotchy, but at least now I'm free to explore the world of Pandora and enjoy its different sights, sounds, and tastes. I'm gonna eat like a Navi as I explore my way through Avatar, the official cookbook of Pandora. Avatar, the official cookbook of Pandora, brings us 50 recipes inspired by the bounty of Avatar's Pandora. Avatar 1 and 2 are considered to be some of the prettiest looking films, but will the beautiful aesthetics and world building translate to this food? Let's find out. As mentioned, there are 50 recipes in this book, which are divided into 4 chapters. One chapter is about nourishing and energy-giving foraged ingredients. Another chapter focuses on food that the human military faction eats. The third chapter is about seafood to highlight the oceanic themes of the second movie, and the fourth chapter includes recipes for celebratory events and large gatherings, just like how communal the Na'vi are in the movies. Not a lot of lore in this book, no intro text or fictional narrator to talk about the world and relate the topic to food. In fact, the writing in this cookbook is pretty bare. The recipe descriptions are pretty basic and are just 1 or 2 liners about the food itself, providing very little context. I usually find these more interesting whenever there's some sort of factoid or a reference to a particular element from the story, but these are very generic and not interesting enough to read in my opinion. Even the chapter intro text are very short and vanilla, and I think it's a missed opportunity not to expand on Pandora's interesting flora and fauna. In terms of the food, expect a lot of vegetarian and pescatarian dishes, a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, and seafood, since those are the main staples of the Navi's diet. There are only 2 meat recipes in the book, a lamb roast and a pineapple chicken. Surprised to see no meat dishes in the human military chapter, as it seems like they would have some meat in their rations. The food photos look good and have a bright and rustic feel to them, but if I was to nitpick, I would say that I think the plating could have been a bit more thematic. Sometimes it's strange to see certain dinnerware and cutlery for the Na'vi food, since it doesn't look like that's how they would eat. Also would have been cool to see some military style equipment and mess hall plating. The food looks tasty, but looking at the photos, it doesn't really feel like it's a window into the world. But the most important thing is the food, so why don't we head over to the kitchen and indulge in the food of Avatar. I'm going to be making 3 recipes from the Avatar cookbook to see what Pandoran cuisine has to offer. Pandora is several light years away from Earth, so if you'd prefer to explore something closer, why not explore Japan, or better yet, have Japan come to you with these Tokyo Treat and Sakurako snack boxes. Tokyo Treat is a fun and exclusive Japanese snack box featuring exciting and unique flavors straight from Japan. This month's theme is Sweet Valentine's, which is packed with chocolatey favorites and Japanese love-inspired treats. This limited edition Valentine's Day box brings a perfect mix of sweet and savory snacks. Treat yourself or someone special with snacks like these sweet and crispy milk chocolate and white chocolate Kit Kat, or these seaweed chips that have an awesome umami flavor, and what's sweeter than Pokemon-themed Ramune candy. Sakurako is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that supports local Japanese snack makers. Each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including Japanese teas and special Japanese tableware. This month's theme is Valentine's Delights, featuring an exclusive Valentine's design, and is filled with indulgent Japanese chocolate confections like these strawberry-coated peanuts that is the perfect blend of sweet and savory, or this chocolate yokan, which is rich and decadent, and I love this spicy senbei, which is so addictive. Aside from the snacks, I also love how they come with booklets that tell you more about the origins of the snacks and fun facts about Japanese culture. If you want to come home to a tasty little surprise every month and experience Japan in the comfort of your own home, then check out these Tokyo Treat and Sakurako snack boxes. Use the link in the description or use the code MisoHungrie. Enjoy the Tokyo Treat and Sakurako boxes with your loved ones this Valentine's Day, or just treat yourself. Before going out to train and explore, one must pack some food to go, so let's make the perfect Na'vi portable snack and put together a pack of Seagrass tofu snacks. First step, combine a tablespoon of soy sauce with a teaspoon of curry powder. Then cut up 200 grams of firm tofu into blocks roughly 1.5 inch thick and 3.5 inch square. Spread the tofu on a baking tray and cover with the soy sauce curry mix. Now heat up the oil in a non-stick frying pan over medium heat, then dip each tofu slice into some cornstarch to coat. Then fry them 2 at a time for about 3 to 4 minutes each side until crispy. Then take them out and place them on paper towels to drain the oil. Now to assemble our tofu snacks, cut a square of plastic wrap a little larger than a sheet of seaweed nori, then place the nori sheet on top with a point of the sheet facing toward you. Then take some cooked sushi rice and spread it with wet hands into a 3.5-inch square. Then layer on some baby spinach, some thinly sliced radishes, some sliced avocados, one of the slices of fried tofu, then some pickled ginger. The cookbook didn't say to top it with rice, but if you look at the photo, the topmost layer is clearly rice, so I think that missing step was just a mistake. Now, I'm gonna try to overlap all 4 corners on top, but I think I put too much filling in here. This is kind of like when you order every single option in a burrito and they try to wrap it and it looks like it's gonna burst. I actually had to double wrap it with another sheet of nori. Not as graceful as it is in the movie. I even asked Miso Wifey for another pair of hands to help me out. Worked out in the end, and the next few batches I made with less filling, and it ended up much easier to bundle. When ready to eat, remove the wrap and cut it in half. Serve with soy sauce and more pickled ginger to enjoy your stack of Seagrass tofu snacks. But if you want to skip snack time and head straight to dinner, then perhaps you'd be interested in a plate of steak. But this isn't an ordinary steak. This is veggie-powered supercharged steak. To work on this steak, cut up a cabbage into 2.5-inch wedges and place them on a parchment paper-lined baking sheet. Then we're going to mix a half teaspoon of ground cumin with 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika and a tablespoon of olive oil. Take this mixture and brush it all over the cabbage wedges and make sure you lather that on both sides. Now roast this in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. Once done roasting, remove from the oven and brush on some pomegranate molasses. The cabbage is going to be pretty soft now and the layers are starting to separate, so very carefully flip to the other side and brush that with molasses as well. Then add in a can of drained and rinsed cannellini beans with 8 halved cherry tomatoes and some chopped mint and chopped flat leaf parsley. Drizzle with a tablespoon of olive oil and pop it back in the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes until the cabbage is cooked all the way through. Plate up some of the cannellini beans and tomatoes along with the cabbage steak and top with some pomegranate seeds, some pine nuts, and more chopped mint and parsley. Supercharged steak for your supercharged meal. Now when you watch Avatar, you're going to see a lot of the color blues, so what better way to end our meal than with a vibrant blue and healthy smoothie? Let's whip up some Navi Super Smoothie Bowl. This is a super simple recipe. In a blender, just dump in half a banana, a handful of sliced blueberries, a quarter of an avocado, 1 medjool date, a cup of any type of milk of your choice, and to give it that vibrant blue color, we'll add in a tablespoon of blue spirulina powder and blend that until smooth and creamy. Pour your smoothie out in a serving bowl and top it with some more sliced blueberries, some coconut flakes, a sprinkling of hemp heart, and a drizzle of honey to taste for a beautiful Navi Super Smoothie Bowl as blue as the ocean waves of Pandora. Time to eat our Avatar-inspired meal. Excited to bite into these Seagrass tofu snacks. They are pretty decent. The texture is pretty good. Kind of cool to see how the cross section kind of looks like an onigiri rice burger. The curry tofu is kind of underwhelming though. The seasoning is pretty light and I wish it had a stronger flavor. Dunking it in the soy sauce and adding more pickled ginger definitely helps, but I feel like it still needs a little bit more seasoning. I also think that it would be way tastier if the rice was seasoned with some salt and vinegar. I thought this was going to be easy to eat with all of it bundled up like this, but it's pretty messy and everything is just falling apart. Pretty fun to put together, but I don't think it's worth all the effort. Now let's move on to the supercharged steak. Gonna take a mouthful of the cabbage and I regret to report that it's pretty underwhelming too. I like the hint of sweetness from the pomegranate molasses, but for the most part it tastes pretty underseasoned. Because the glaze and seasoning is just brushed on the sides, there's several layers in there that have no seasoning and it feels like I'm just eating warm cabbage. The beans and tomatoes could also use some extra seasoning as the herbs are just not enough. The added tartness from the pomegranates and crunch from the pine nuts makes it a tad more interesting, but I don't know, I think it's kind of bland and this dish isn't really hitting for me. And finally, the super blue, super easy, super smoothie bowl. Looks lovely and tastes not too bad, but again, kind of plain. You get a strong taste of banana with a subtle, light freshness from the avocados. The sweetness is just right, but for something that looks so pretty and unique, almost alien-y, I kind of wish that it tasted a little bit more interesting to reflect that. Maybe throw in some other fruits in there or some vanilla or other type of extract just to make it taste a bit more special and otherworldly to match the imaginative world of Avatar. So, is the Avatar cookbook any good? I think there's some missed opportunity to incorporate more about the Avatar's world in the writing and in the photos. I also might have had some bad luck picking recipes, but I unfortunately found it kinda meh.